The pavement was warm beneath his shoes. A steady, thudding backpack, quiet street. He strode on.
He did not hear the latch click. He did not hear the concrete scrapings behind the iron gate.
The gate swung outward, hitting the stone wall with a sharp metallic crack. A heavy shadow surged forward. The boy froze. The air shifted, thick with the scent of raw muscle and musk. He spun around, boots skidding on the asphalt, and sprinted. Lungs burned. Weight slammed his back. He hit the ground hard, the grit tearing at his skin. Screams pierced the silence. Echoing off the suburban houses, a neighbor dropped a bag of groceries, glass shattering against the curb. Panic surged through the street. People sprinted toward the sound. Voices shouting, but the predator had already taken hold. The boy struggled, fingers clawing at the concrete.
But the animal's grip was absolute. Everything changed in the blink of an eye.
Chairs clattered, water splashed, beast blinded, retreated,
slinking back through the iron gate with a low, guttural growl.
Neighbors swarmed the sidewalk. The boy lay motionless, his breath coming in shallow, ragged gasps.
Sirens wailed. Medics rushed.
Loading him onto a stretcher as the family hovered nearby, their faces pale, eyes fixed not on the danger,
but on the gate. The hospital doors swung shut behind the boy.
Leaving the street to the hum of flickering streetlights. Back at the mansion, the gate clicked shut. The locks engaged.
The family stood in the living room, listening to the pacing behind the walls. They did not call for help to remove it.
They did not call for control. They spoke in hushed tones,
convincing themselves it was a freak occurrence, a misunderstanding of nature. The predator sat in the dark, its claws still caked with dirt, watching the hallway. The house was quiet, but the air felt heavy, strained by the refusal to see the truth. The danger had not left. It was simply waiting for the next door to open.
7 days passed in a hollow, artificial silence. The house remained locked. Drawn curtains hid a stagnant, heavy air.
A steady sound that filled the room like a ticking clock. It was not sleeping. Amber eyes watched dust motes dance. He did not know the history of the creature on the rug. He saw only a large. His soft presence filled the room, hand reaching for thick fur. The lion's ears twitched. It did not move, but the muscles along its spine coiled, tightening like drawn wire. The boy took another step, his face inches away from the massive head. He reached out, palm open, ready to touch. The atmosphere in the room shifted, turning sharp and cold. Every second stretched, pulling the tension to a breaking point. The boy's hand hovered, trembling slightly in the stagnant air, while the beast waited in the shadows of its own instinct.
The boy touched the mane. In that fraction of a second, the lion snapped. It did not growl, it simply moved.
A massive paw swept across the child's chest with the force of a falling beam. The boy hit the wall, sliding down into a heap. The room exploded into motion. The father lunged from the doorway, slamming his weight into the beast. They crashed into the furniture, wood splintering under the pressure. The father grabbed a heavy iron grate, shoving the animal backward, his hands shaking as he forced the predator into the corner cage. He slammed the bolt home. His breath came in ragged, wet gasps. He looked at his hands, then at the creature behind the bars, then at his child on the floor. The illusion of safety vanished in the silence that followed.
The lion paced the cage, eyes locked on the room, no longer a pet, but a predator.
The father gripped the metal bars until his knuckles turned white, finally seeing what had been there all along.
It did not recognize home. It did not recognize family. It recognized only the kill.
The house was no longer a sanctuary. It was a cage for a mistake that could never be undone.
The silence in the living room was absolute. It was the silence of a house that had lost its foundation, its claws rhythmically digging into the metal floor. The delusion of domestication crumbled with every passing minute.
They understood now. Affection was a human currency, and the beast did not trade in it. The father looked at the walls, at the broken furniture, and finally at the cage.
The gamble had failed. They had invited a force of nature into their living room and expected it to yield. It never would. A lion belongs to the vast, open wild, not to a home.
True respect for such a creature is not found in proximity, but in distance. By the time the authorities arrived,
the family had stopped looking at the lion as a companion. They saw it as what it had always been, a predator.
They had learned the hardest lesson of all. Nature cannot be tamed. It can only be survived. They walked out of the house, leaving the door standing open to the empty, quiet street.